Welcome everyone to BigGunner81 Live, presented by Applied Arsenal Finishes and Gunworks, BAT Arms at batarms.com, Eggleston Munitions, which you can find at egglestonmunitions.com, of course, and The Range at 355. So welcome everybody. And tonight, I hear an echo playing in the background. Someone might have it open, but of course, and The Range 355. Hopefully it's not me. Does someone have it playing in the background? Mine's muted.
No.
I don't think it's me. I'm on my tablet.
Too.
Apologize for that. I'm hearing it.
Okay, I tell you what, I'll mute myself, see if it goes away.
No.
I think it might have went away.
We found the culprit.
No.
Yeah, wait.
Mute myself, see if it
I still hear it. Does someone have it open in the background, a window? Nope, it's gone. So I don't know if it might be on Rob's end. I'm not sure. But anyway, so welcome everybody to the show tonight. We have some guests here with us, of course. They're going to go on my screen, which might be backwards on your screen, but we got Thomas Krall in the house. Thomas, how's it going?
How you guys doing?
You're from Alpha Concepts Firearms Training.
Absolutely.
I got it right for once, right?
You got it right.
So do you want to just give everybody a little brief description of what you do, and we'll move on to the next person?
Yeah. Do a lot of concealed carry and defensive pistol training in the Chicago area, a lot of beginner pistol, work with, civilian market. That's primarily what I do for Alpha Concepts. I'm the lead firearm instructor, and then also run the blog gunrightsforillinois.com, and spend a lot of time kind of bringing awareness to people about what's going on in Illinois with all the great politicians trying to take away our rights. But at least we're not California, so that's good.
That's true, and hopefully we'll get suppressors very soon.
Yeah, that'd be great. It's not dead yet.
Oh, I got Joe Gizzy in the house. Welcome, Joe.
How's it going, Rick?
Not too bad. If you want to tell everybody,
Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, always. Pleasure to have you. So if you want to tell everybody a little brief description of yourself, what you do.
So I am in the Chicago area as well. I don't work in the firearms industry, but I am a news shooter, and Rick thought it'd be a good idea to kind of have somebody with just being new to the industry and new to sports, and I kind of just bring that perspective. I've only been into firearms for about a year, and yeah, that's it.
Cool. Yeah, again, thanks for joining us. We got Rob in the house here with us from, if you want to explain the title of your podcast.
My podcast is called Self-Defense Gun Stories. It pretty much is what it describes it as, but rather than just bring you the news and say, here's what happened, I have 8 different firearms instructors. I pull in one every week, and we say, hey, this is great. Grandma saved her bacon. Was Grandma good, or was Grandma just really lucky, and what should we do if it happens to us?
Cool. So we're going to, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, so we're going to do some of those topics tonight, like talk about some of the stories.
Yeah, we are.
Awesome.
Anytime you want. I'm on the Polite Society podcast, where I'm a co-host. I write at Clash Daily at Emaland, and I have a blog called Slow Facts.
Oh, very cool. Definitely going to be checking that out. And I'll say hello to Ryan, who's been our long-lost friend here. How's it going, Ryan? Thank you for joining us.
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
So
it's good to be back.
If you want to give everybody a little background to you, I'm sure since we haven't seen you in, 2 months or whatever, everyone's forgot who you were, right?
Yeah, that's a good thing. I mean, that's kind of the purpose, get warmed up for a little while and then roll out. Gotcha. No, I'm just kidding. I had some stuff going on in the real life that I had to deal with, and
Gotcha.
But I'm back. I'm here. I'm here to party.
Glad to have you. I'm looking forward to SHOT Show. Definitely.
Yep, me too.
Hopefully, last 2 days.
Speaking of party,
yeah,
It's coming up quick.
Yeah, it's coming up less than 2 weeks now. We'll be there. Well, you're coming out Thursday and Friday. What's that?
Yeah, I'll be there Wednesday. I think Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, and then I got to come back Saturday because I have to host a match. I got to come back and set up a 3-gun match on Saturday and shoot on Sunday. So.
Oh wow, yeah. For those who don't know, you're also a match director.
Yes, sir.
Yes, out in Arizona. So cool. Glad to have you. Quick little thing I'm going to throw out there. I'm just going to kick this off too because I've been really excited about this, and I've talked a lot about it on the previous shows. But we've got here, like, don't wrinkle it all up. This is the current copy of Shooting Illustrated from NRA, January 2017 edition. On page 22, there's a nice article about the 50 states of AR-15. And by the way, the United States of AR-15, that's just the title of the article. They actually do mention the name of the project in here as well. Kind of talks a little bit about the synopsis of it. So I'm proud of that. I'm happy about that. And I'm very thankful to the guys who are with NRA Publications for working on that and putting that together for us and everything. And another shout out too I want to give is to James Mason as well, our friend James, because he helped design that. Or actually, he designed that little logo thing I got for BigGunner81 that you see, like even on the other side here, wherever it's at over here, the little BigGunner81 thing on the bottom. You can't see all of it, but that little script he set that up, made that file, which has been replicated on a couple different products recently. In fact, our friends over at Beaton Zone Manufacturing put it on a charging handle. Tim at TACCOM put it on his, which I don't have them yet, but his +5 extensions like this. And a couple of lower receivers are going to have that logo on there too, which is really cool. So I'm very thankful for the help that I've gotten for those things to help with that project and everything else with this channel and stuff so far. And so that's kind of my little thing I've got right now. There's a couple other things we'll talk about a little bit later. But moving on, before we get into the gun story stuff, Joe's got some new firearms, right? If you want to talk about those, and you're kind of doing a little unboxing.
Yeah. So sorry, my cat is jumping up all over here. Yeah, I recently just picked up a couple 22 pistols because as I've kind of been going through and going to all these different ranges and these gun stores and telling people about it, a lot of people want to come shooting with me and they have never done it before at all. And I just wanted the first pistol I wanted just kind of like as a familiarity gun, I guess, or training gun. A 22 obviously is good for that. And I settled with, I didn't settle. I'm pretty excited about the Ruger SR22. And I did get the threaded barrel just in case Illinois does do the right thing. And that's it. That's number one. So, and then I also bought my first revolver as well.
Do you have them there with you?
#6. Yep.
Yeah, if you don't mind showing us what they are, so people who I'm not super familiar with them anyway. So I mean, kind of cool to take a look.
This is the Ruger.
Oh, cool. What is the model?
So this is the threaded barrel. This is kind of the
thread protector on it.
Yeah, the protector. Mm-hmm. So, and they give you the wrench and everything. Yeah, it's a hammer fire. It has the external safety, which I'm not crazy about, but it's fine.
Does it have a mag disconnect too, where if you drop the magazine, you can't fire?
It does, yes.
Yeah, that's a feature I personally just don't like. Because if you got a round in it, you want to be able to fire it, and somehow that mag falls out. It's a 22. Still, I want it to be able to fire.
Right.
Or at least I know that the hammer's down and it's right.
Yeah, let me see if I can.
I remember well, come on, all of our masters, show me an empty gun. Slide back, magazine out, slide down, hammer down. Oh, you can't. Well, on many of these, there is a cheat. For example, on the Brownings, you have to press the mag release even though the mag's out. Then you can drop the hammer.
Oh, really?
But it's just cumbersome.
Yeah, it's interesting. On this gun, the hammer's back. It's off safe, and the trigger kind of is just hanging there. It doesn't really do anything.
Yeah,
it's almost like it's not caught, which is interesting. But yeah, that's it.
So I'm gonna have to try that out. You know that, right?
That's totally fine, man.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It'd be fun.
So what was the other one? The revolver you're talking about?
Oh, the safety is a decocker as well.
Oh, okay.
There's some good
But you had
reviews
the revolver too.
Yep. So that's the pretty one. Let me get this out. The good one.
I have yet to get a revolver.
As odd as it sounds,
Really?
revolvers are so much fun for new shooters. Yeah, you know, in a semi-auto, you do a ball and dummy drill. Oh, you're a little frightened? Well, here, we'll put in some inert rounds. In the revolver, you just leave it empty, you know, leave half of them empty. And now you're going, well, I wonder if that next one is live. There's the next one and the next one. So, yeah, look at
This
that.
is single 6.
You're a fan
Also
of the
20.
Rugers.
Yeah, apparently. I was kind of, you know, I wasn't really trying to.
Yeah, isn't that kind of weird?
But,
How
I mean,
that
they're
works?
affordable. It's kind of just like a good first gun, especially.
Isn't that kind of weird how that works? You get into one of them, and then all of a sudden you start buying more of their product line. Like I got a Sig, you know, I got a Sig Mosquito, a P250, then I got the 226, you know, and I like the Sigs. Next, I think I want to get 320 if I go with another Sig, just because I think it's kind of a cool striker fire. But it's on the list. That's awesome. I'm kind of jealous. I haven't gotten a wheel. What is that? A wheel gun?
Well, and it's also comes with 22 Magnum cylinder, which is really easy to take out and put in. So.
That's cool. It's nice having options like that. Like Rock Island Armory does that with the 22 TCM pistols and stuff with the 9mm barrel. It's cool to be able to switch it off once in a while. You know, gives you options. So that's cool. So by the way, I'll ask you this question too. I don't have it here in front of me, but what did you think about that ZK22 conversion on the Ruger 1022? Since we're talking about Rugers here,
it was fun.
Yeah,
it was fun. What was the red dot sight that you had on it?
Oh, the Bushnell TRS 25. It's inexpensive.
Bad.
Yeah,
it wasn't bad.
You can pick them up for around somewhere between $60 and $80, roughly, somewhere around there. They're not terribly expensive.
I mean, it was really fun to kind of get that, you know, bullpup style. The how the magazines go in and out is not the greatest. But,
yeah, it's a little awkward.
You know,
and the brass, where the
really
brass
fun.
comes out too. Like right-handed with that deflector, sometimes it'll hit your arm.
Oh, right.
There's that. If you're a left-handed person, I think that deflector is going to be beneficial, obviously. But
yeah, because the deflector kind of hits on the inside of your forearm,
right? And you can remove it pretty easily. I mean, you could take it off, and I think it would throw a little bit further. And I've seen people shooting it that way too. So it's not a big deal. It's kind of a neat thing. It's a fair to ask.
No, it was cool. It was fun to shoot something like that.
Ryan, have you had any recent? Just throwing this at you right away. Have you had any recent firearms purchases or anything on your list that you're looking to buy for this coming year?
No purchases. Building a few things though.
Yeah, what you building?
Dude, I don't know. I lost everyone's picture. That's weird.
Really? We see you.
Yeah,
okay.
like in the little tiny boxes.
Huh.
No, whatever. I blame CenturyLink. It's like the liberals always blame Bush. You know, I just blame CenturyLink.
There you go.
But building this weekend, I should be finished with my my new 3-gun rifle for 2017. My receivers come in on Friday, so that should be fun. I'm super stoked for that. That's the Strike Industries and Kaiser shooting products rifle, Elfman trigger.
Is the Kaiser the receiver set?
Yes.
Okay, so I thought I heard their name recently, and I looked at their stuff recently, but couldn't remember all their stuff. You gotta remember, I look at 50 States of AR-15 all the time, so sometimes things get lost.
Kaiser's. They're the guys out of Tucson, Arizona, just about an hour and a half south of here. They're doing aluminum reinforced polymer receivers.
Oh, wow.
It's not your standard polymer receiver. They're actually really freaking nice. If you look at like Robar, they're the Robar. Do you know who Robar is?
No. I don't think I'm familiar with it.
Okay, Robar. They've been around a long time. I'm pretty sure they've employed every gunsmith out of Yavapai gunsmithing school for their first job in Arizona. But they do they patented the MP3 stuff. But they probably have 8 to 10 in-house gunsmiths. They do real high-end stuff. Anyways, their lightweight rifle is built on the Kaiser receivers. So when I hear polymer receivers, like at first, you know, as a gunsmith, I see 2 to 3 broken polymer receivers a week. So when I heard about it, I was kind of skeptical, but then I looked at it and I was like, wow, this is really cool.
Did they have a polymer upper also?
Yep.
They do.
Yeah, everything that has like contact is reinforced with aluminum.
Okay,
So where the takedown pins go, the trigger, like.
So they do the rear one also, not just the front. Okay.
Right. Yeah, all the holes are reinforced with aluminum and stuff. Where the grip goes in, you're touching metal to metal. The only thing that where metal's touching plastic really, or polymer, it's like high-end polymer, some kind of glass reinforced stuff. But is really in the upper receiver where the bolt carrier is barely contacting as it's sliding.
Okay.
I think.
Because I actually do have an ATI Omni hybrid, their upper and lower set. And so far it's not bad. I haven't had any failures with it. But on the flip side, you may have seen the recent pictures I've seen out there. Someone posted up recently with the 9mm carbine, I guess, from my understanding, where it broke off the rear upper receiver lug, and the metal insert in the front was sliding.
I believe it.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, great. Hopefully I don't have to look forward to that. So
totally with a 9mm too, because I mean, I hate to say it, but those little pistol caliber carbines, man, they thump pretty good.
Yeah, because
my 223 recoil is less than our 9mm PCC.
That's my next thing I want to build actually for this coming year. So at some point I want to put together a 9mm pistol caliber carbine. You know, I don't have a barrel yet for it or anything. I don't have anything for it actually yet, but it's on my list of something I want to build. And I think I'm going to also put together a 300 blackout at some point. 16-inch barrel. I have a 300 blackout pistol and 10.5-inch stainless barrel on it, but I want to expand that into a rifle setup. Just because I have a barrel for it, and I like to try that out and see what it's like, in a carbine setup. So
all right.
Anyway,
it's going to be $1.
What's that?
So every time you pull the trigger,
I know.
$1.
I know. That is the downside of 300 blackout. The thing is, I do have some projectiles for that. And in fact, one of the other things too is Eggleston Munitions makes a polymer coated version. So I'm anxious to try that out too and see how it works. Which I'm actually, fun. I think for a subsonic, 300 blackout or whatever it is, I think that's what you probably make with those. I haven't even had a chance to experiment with them. I had no experience whatsoever yet, but I just seen that they make them. I would have to think with the slower velocity, like subsonic velocity, that you're probably not going to have issues with. Like people claim that the coating's going to, get stuck in the bore and all this kind of stuff. Speaking of which, they were kind of working on developing some 223 projectiles that I was testing out recently, and those
coating stuck in the bore. Is that a thing?
I don't know. People said it's an issue. Like the polymer will bake off and get stuck in the rifling, and that's what people were telling me on
shoot another round. I mean, that happens with lead and copper and regular rifling.
Exactly. That was my thought. I'm like, okay, so if you're worried about getting the polymer out of your barrel, just maybe alternate once in a while between using, polymer coated loads and regular copper jacketing or something, Do
a test, dude. Go out and grab some. I mean, the most common is going to be like your, 850 foot per second, 300 blackout, and they step it up to like 1450 for the supersonic stuff.
Yeah, I could do it with that.
Buy a couple boxes of each and do accuracy tests, man. Do like 50 and 75 yards.
To do that. So with the 223 rounds, they don't produce them yet. They just sent me some to try out and play with and make some loads with. And I don't know if they're going to produce them or not. They do smoke quite a bit. So I don't know if it's coating burning off or if it's the lead getting, heated up or what. I don't know. But I only shot a couple rounds of it, so I can't even say that that's all of them. They just made notes that says over 1,200 something feet per second or 20. I forget what the feet per second is. I'm going to say it all wrong. So just forget it. They have a certain threshold regardless of. They claim that you reach a certain point and it's going to burn off. You reach it underneath it, it's kind of like a sweet spot. So I haven't really done much load development with it, and I only have a small sampling to work with. So I'm just going to make some up and kind of make some variations and kind of see how it goes just for fun, and then kind of report back to them and tell them, kind of what I saw. But I do want to get my friend's chronograph. I want to pick up his chronograph and check the velocity out. So speaking of 223 and during our blackout, Men 2 came out with their 20-round mags now. And I had that video out that on their 30-round mags where I ran over with my truck. We shot some holes through it. Toby helped out with that, put some holes through it, and things still operated. In fact, after putting five or six holes, I forget, through the 30-round mag, you could still cycle it with 15 rounds, a spring hanging out of the side, and it would still lock the bolt back. And we replaced the spring in it. Yeah, replaced the spring in it and ran it. And I still have that mag today. I thought I lost it after that whole filming episode, and I forgot that I set it on the rail of my truck, and it fell on the bed, and it was laid in the snow for like, I don't know, a week or 2 weeks, packed in ice, and brought it in, shook it out, thawed it out, and ran it again, and it's fine. Even with the whole side of it just blown out and holes punched in the one side. They're nice clean holes, like if you were to push a pencil through it. And the other side just like blown out with the spring flying out of it. But
dude, I bet that 20 rounder is going to be stronger.
They did caution me this, and I'm not going to lie, that they said you may not want to drive your truck over it just because it doesn't have enough surface area, I think is the way to put it, to disperse the load of the tire. So it may tear it up. So they said you may not want to do it because that might happen. And I'm like, yeah, I could see that as a possibility because
don't try.
I know, I kind of thinking about it. Maybe I will. Maybe I will do it. My biggest thing is I just want to make sure they're reliable as far as feeding and so forth. That's my next test with them. The reason for the 20 rounders, as we know, sometimes in competition, that's one of my points about it. It makes more sense to have a 20 rounder for different positions to get your rifle in, like shooting prone or whatever. Prone. And then also the other advantage for us is that, like, for example, like Laura, we kind of built her rifle to be like, somewhat lightweight on a budget. And if you put if you're just going to practice and do target shooting with it, and that's what your purpose is most of the time, 20 round mag's pretty sufficient for just target practice anyway. And that would cut down the weight, for the like one third of the rounds less, and that they add up. When you have 10 rounds in your hand, you feel some extra weight, especially when it's further out in front of you. So that's pretty much that. We're going to do some testing on these and take off the range and shoot with them, and maybe we'll drive my truck over it. I don't know. I got one I could probably do that with, and I got an extra one, so we'll see. But let's go ahead and talk with Rob. Let's go into some of these stories you want to discuss. Thomas will also probably chime in too, since he's an instructor.
Shall we use Thomas as our Tom, you want to be the lead instructor here?
Whatever you want.
I vote yes.
All right. Yes, we've all.
Sure, I'm the lead instructor here.
Thank you for volunteered. Tom, you or one of your students are on your way to the airport, and you're armed. An Uber driver, this is a real story, picked up an early morning fare and started on his way to Fort Lauderdale Airport. Look, there are not a lot of cars on the road at 5:30 in the morning. The small car was cut off by a larger Dodge Caravan. The larger car slammed on its brakes, and then 2 occupants got out. The driver's side occupant was armed. He walks back to the Uber driver, demands the driver's wallet, phone, and keys. The Uber driver was a licensed concealed carry holder in Florida. And this is where the news isn't really clear. We don't know if the Uber driver stayed seated in the car or if he was ordered to get out. What we do know is the Uber driver shot the robber 4 times. He goes and looks at the other robber, the guy who was on the passenger side, and all he sees is rear end and elbows as the guy's diving back into the caravan and driving away. He didn't shoot. He had the presence of mind to say that man is not a threat. Neither the driver of the Uber or his passenger, his fare, were injured. Turns out that Dodge Caravan was an overdue rental car. It was stolen and involved in a robbery an hour earlier. So what did he do right? What did he do wrong? What would you say to your students about that? I mean, here we have, this is an everyday story. We've all driven to the airport.
Sure. So what did he do wrong? I'll start with wrong. Obviously you always want to be armed. The first rule of a gunfight is to have one, but driving for Uber, an anti-gun company, unfortunately, he probably lost his job for that. So that's the first thing he did wrong, but that's besides the point. Tactically speaking, if he could have gotten away, I'm going to assume he couldn't have, but your vehicle can be used as a weapon just like the firearm. So if you can make tracks, you press on the gas and you accomplish two goals at the same time. Both you possibly eliminate the threat and you flee the scene. Distance is safety. So in some regards, if you can flee the scene and you don't have to deploy your firearm, that's the best way to go. Even if you have to run one of the attackers over, there's no real difference between shooting someone justified or running them over justified. So, but I'm going to say, for the benefit of the doubt, that he was boxed in. He couldn't go anywhere. If he would have reversed, he would have put himself in a bad situation, made himself a target. As we all know, the vehicle is not going to stop around through a sheet metal door or the glass. What he did right, obviously he got out of the situation alive. He protected himself and his passenger, who was placed under his mantle of protection. Like you said, we don't know if he got out or if he shot from within his vehicle. It obviously doesn't really make much of a difference at this point. He got away, and that's what counts.
He did stay on the scene. He did contact the police. All those are great. A lot of us who concealed carry were in our car, we think we're armed. How many of you have made sure your gun is empty? You don't even have an extra mag in your pocket. And now from the seated position where you drive, the same way you drive, go get your gun. Tell me how it works out.
Rob, I agree with you. Most of us
Good
are going
point.
to carry strong side hip. Most of us are right-handed. And so as we're reaching for the firearm, we're generally going to be sitting on it or impeding it in some way. So now you've got your seat belt to contend with. You've got your shirt to contend with. You're probably sitting on the firearm, and that generally doesn't work. Obviously, for anyone who's going to choose a mode of carry and a placement of where they're actually going to carry, strong side hip isn't right for everyone. Off-body carry in a dedicated holster that's mounted to the vehicle, somewhere possibly beneath the key or on the side of the console or wherever the case may be, is often, for someone who's driving extended periods of time, such as a taxi or an Uber driver, a very good choice. I sometimes recommend having it if you have, let's say, you have next to the steering wheel column where you need to put it into park reverse neutral. Directly underneath that is a good spot, because as you're motion, all right, man, don't shoot, just going to put it in drive, and you can reach for it. That's one way.
Maybe that's why the Super Duty has that nice little pocket right there off to the side. I don't know.
Absolutely. Forethought of everything.
I have a question, Rob.
Yeah, go.
So you said that the robber on the driver's side was armed?
Yes.
So, okay, does that mean that after the fact they found out he was armed? Was he presenting? What
No,
sort
he
of
presented.
threat was it?
He came out. In fact, they said he had 2 guns. What I've seen it described both ways. So it's a great question, Joseph. We don't know whether he comes out with a gun in both hands, or he's got one in a hand, one in his belt, or were both of the robbers armed. We don't know. But the guy did present a firearm during the robbery.
Okay.
The robber presented a firearm. Yeah, clear and present. It was more than just words.
Well, even words can be threatening. Hey, give us your vehicle or we're going to shoot you. Based upon the actions, a reasonable person may articulate that you truly did believe your life was in danger. You've got 2 people there standing at your driver door and passenger door. They just cut you over, slammed on the brakes. I think that it would be easy for you to articulate, or have your lawyer articulate for you, that you truly did feel your life was in danger,
Right.
whether the weapon was displayed or not. It's just based upon their actions and their words.
People can, kill each other with just their hands.
Absolutely.
So it's
all
the whole threat.
All that's absolutely true. Howsoever, physical evidence that's left on the asphalt means it is your word corroborated by a man on the asphalt with a gun in his hand.
Oh,
the police
true.
like that.
It makes your lawyer's job a lot easier.
Right.
Yes, your lawyer just said, "Oh, that just saved us thousands of dollars." Shall we press on?
Sure. Let's go on the next one.
Okay. Not so much applicable to you, but let's say we're thinking of our parents.
Okay.
You have a firearm nearby when you're in bed. A naked man tried to break into several Albuquerque homes late at night. Finally, he's going from house to house. He breaks into the bedroom window of an elderly couple. They turn in early. They're asleep in their bed. And the male homeowner grabs a gun that he keeps near the bed, shoots the guy who's come through his window, just to prove that handguns are not as lethal as we think, or aren't as promptly lethal. The guy gets shot several times. He runs. He jumps several fences. Finally, a neighbor sees him, reports him to the police. The intruder's captured, taken to a local hospital for treatment. He hardly knows who he is. He's been drinking so heavily. He was also out on parole. Interesting side comment. The elderly homeowner has a hard time talking to the police. We don't know whether it's because he was hearing impaired before. Did he have hearing aids? Or did he just fire several shots in his bedroom and now he's hopefully temporarily deaf, not permanently?
That's a good
Crazy. But he was armed. The homeowner contacted the police, stayed there, talked to them, physical evidence, glass inside, neighbors call. All that looks great. You have to ask yourself, what was his spouse doing? Was she on the phone? Was she armed? Was she standing there as a target? So those are the sort of really, but I mean, come on, that's the real simple stuff we can talk about with our family, to say, if this happens, you're involved. At least roll out of bed so you're not sitting there as a target. Grab a cell phone. Is there something else you can use to help protect us?
Yeah, there's something you can put between you and the threat too. If one of you doesn't have access to the firearm in the room, what can you do to kind of shield yourself from that?
Exactly.
Remove yourself from it.
Exactly.
Of course, what's concealment and what's cover? That's the other question. In your house, you have to look around your room. What would a bullet go through easily, and what might deflect it, or what is just basically covering yourself up and that's it?
Rick, that's very interesting. I was having that conversation today, as a matter of fact, and the person I was speaking with was amazed when I told them that a 9mm round will easily sail through 8 sheets of drywall with ease, and they just couldn't believe it. They thought a couple sheets would stop it, and I said, nope. Unless you've got a brick house, and if you miss, it's going through your house and directly into your neighbor's house with ease. It's not going to stop. So,
especially in an apartment or condo.
Yeah, well, that condos generally have 4 sheets of drywall between you and your neighbors, so you might be into the 3rd unit down.
So, what is a good round? Speaking of that too, for that kind of application, when you're inside of a home, what are some good options for that? That might be more frangible, I guess, or break up the energy before.
The 223, if you're talking about penetration through walls, is probably one of the best next to birdshot. But birdshot, the lethality obviously is a huge debate. The 223 round, because it starts tumbling, generally 3-4 sheets, if I remember correctly, it's going to stop. But obviously you've got a lot more pressure with a 223. If you can't shoot it suppressed, you're trading your life for your hearing. So pros and cons to everything that you might shoot inside your house.
That's a very valid point. We definitely need to get suppressors in Illinois. Because that would be a nice option to have.
Write your senators right now.
Always.
Well, that's what it's called, the Hearing Protection Act.
Exactly. Of course, I think it's written up for hunting and purposes.
It's written up for hunting and range use. The way that it's written is for hunting and range use, but you know what? I don't think that your state's attorney would press charges if you forgot to take your suppressor off your hunting rifle and happened to use it for home defense. I'm just saying, I don't think that they're going to press charges. But I'm not a lawyer, and it's not legal advice.
So what are some of the good points in that scenario, Rob?
One of the ones that I like the most, and this makes so much sense. You and I are walking down the street. We've got could be your mom. Let's say it's your girlfriend. Somebody accosts us, tries to rob us. Same situation in this bedroom. The robber typically orients toward the person that he considers the larger threat. That's typically the male.
Mm-hmm.
Your tendency in mine is to say, get behind me, dear. Okay, put that in the bag. That's not a good idea. If she's trained, between the two of us, she should be carrying. She steps to the side, literally disappears to the attacker until he's taken care of the male threat. Right. And she owns this guy. She has him so many ways. She could sit there. It could be off body carry. It could be an ankle holster. She can do a dance, and it doesn't register with the attacker. Literally, anytime he so much as turns toward my wife, I take half a step forward. He's riveted on me again. 2-on-1 team tactics, if you've trained even in the slightest, dominate the encounter. So talk to your family. You're going to walk down the street together.
Oh yeah, do it all the time.
Why don't you talk about how you go and what you do? It's not a ninja move. You're not throwing each other through the air over your attacker. All you've decided to do is, if we take 2 steps apart, this guy wishes he had 3 sets of eyes.
Mm-hmm. That's a valid point.
So well, and it takes almost no training. It takes very little physical strength, but unless you've thought about it, you're stuck like a deer in the headlights.
You're absolutely right about that. In a high stress situation, you're going to default to your training. If you haven't thought about it beforehand, you will not think about it in the moment.
Well, I like what you said a lot. And let's go on further. Unless you've trained it, unless you've said, what would we do? And you physically stepped, because when your level of stress is that high, you don't think. You can't think.
Mm-hmm.
All your logical faculties are gone. Your reasoning is gone. What did you practice? Is that if somebody said boo, we'd step aside, step away from each other.
Right. So Rob, let me
and you'll do what you practiced.
You have a question too, as far as your background. So what pushes you to get into this as far as the self-defense aspect? Like what's some of the motivating factors in your life that drives you to do what you do right now with the podcast and everything?
There are a couple. My wife was a political spokesman, and people threatened her. And that was when we lived in California. And I realized that the target pistols I had were absolutely useless for concealed carry. So that was sort of a startling event. You go, whoa, I always assumed that self-defense was there. And then by the time I needed it in California, it wasn't available. On a different sense, you and I've heard over and over that if we were to talk to a friend who wasn't in the firearms community, they'd say, no, people don't defend themselves. I don't hear about it. If it happened, I'd hear about it in the news. Well, it does happen. I want to record it. I want to make my podcast we've already run way long for my podcast. I'll cover 3 events in, I hope, under 15 minutes. It's just a little snack food of a podcast. Mm-hmm. And then somebody who is a shooter can say, really? Here, why don't you listen to this? These are everyman stories. And hopefully they make the person who's thinking of getting a gun go take some training. He wants to take care of himself and his family. Isn't that why you're in it?
Yeah, I mean, basically my whole point of it is for doing this stuff with the podcast is for many aspects. One, for the sporting side and also the self-defense side, to get information out to people. I'm not an expert on any level of any sense with any of this stuff. I'm still learning all these things, and I hope to share any information that I learn with other people. And that's kind of why I started this, and that's why I bring all these other people on board with us to do this, to share knowledge and share stories and learn things and see new items that we can use as far as products and stuff like that, do the review side of it as well. And just that's basically it. I mean, it's a good time also getting together with gun people and talking. You know, there's a lot of good people in this. Well, there's industry and there's community and there's all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot of good people in it, and it's a great thing. It's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it, and it is a good aspect to look at it from the self-defense aspect. You know, because that's really the crux of it. To be able to have an option to protect ourselves.
My experience has been very similar. If you go to a training class, people who've never shot a firearm before, within minutes, are struggling to act as responsibly as they can with a firearm in their hand. I'm sure eventually I'm going to run into somebody who takes it casually, so casually that I have to go say, you know, wait a minute, we have an issue. This needs to change because it's safety's involved. Not yet. You know, I'm sure it happens. Of course, people are people. Your experience the same way?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much most part. Sometimes there are some people that, you know, they're beginners at it, and they might take a little casually because they're still learning stuff and they're not used to everything yet.
They don't know yet.
Exactly. They're just not educated yet. But once they kind of get it, usually everybody's pretty much on board with it.
Yeah, I think there's like an initial barrier that a lot of new people have to training or anything self-defense. And once they get over that, like once they take a first class,
yes,
or even just get fit, like just a friend or an expert showing them a couple things, and then once they see that there's also a supportive community out there, kind of their guard goes down a little bit, and then they get excited and want to learn more, if that makes sense. Because
they realize they don't have to be perfect.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's less intimidating. It's, you know, like anything, the more you do it, obviously. But
right.
I think that there's, you know, because of, you know, the inherent dangers or whatever, that once they get over that, then it's.
Well, okay, Ryan, you're setting up a 3-gun course, right?
Yeah, I do it every month.
Okay. I bet a lot of, now to do 3-gun, you're pretty dialed in. But if a guy comes there, as long as it's not a safety violation, if he blows a stage, does something, or he's doing something that's holding him back, the world is full of shooters. If he goes to a buddy, goes, "What am I doing?" People will square him away. They're not, you know, why should I tell you I need the points?
Mm-hmm.
That's not my experience. They want it. Everybody at a training class or in a competition wants their competition to do well.
Definitely. Especially
tell me if that's what you've seen as well.
Especially in this sport, in this industry. I mean, a lot of times people offer you help when you don't even want
Yeah,
it. Every match I go to, people tell me that I have my magazines in backwards. I'm like, all right, you want to see who reloads faster?
On the other hand, a guy gets a new gun. If you stand there and stare at it for about 5 minutes, he's going to say, "Do you want to shoot it?"
That's true.
You know, but it's almost like staring at a guy's girlfriend. I have to look away because otherwise, well, do you want to shoot? No, I just don't.
The difference is if you stare at a guy's girlfriend, he's probably not going to offer you to test her out.
Exactly. That's not the best comparison.
Good point. Good point. That's where the comparison differs.
Ends, yeah.
So, what else we got? So, you had one more of these stories too, right? Or no?
Oh wait, I wanted to say something real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
That, you guys are talking about like over penetration, shooting people in your house with 223s and 9mm and stuff like that, and noise. You guys ever shot a 9mm carbine with 147 grain full metal jackets, 800 foot per second with no hearing protection?
No.
It's not that bad. They don't go through people.
They don't go through people?
Oh, 800 feet per second.
Not when they're really slow. Yeah, you can see them flying through the air.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you hit a wall, I mean, if it does go through drywall, that person's probably going to live on the other side.
Bounce off of them.
Yeah, they're gonna be bruised or something. But I don't know. It's just a thought.
Yep.
That's a valid point. By the way, too, there was a question that we saw out in the YouTube world here, and it was for Rob, and it was related to something you said earlier about the question was, what model Browning were you referring to as far as the magazine release and being able to pull a trigger and fire it?
Yeah, this was the Browning 1911-22. I got it deliberately for instruction. I had some students whose hands were so small. These were adults, not children. They couldn't grab one of the Ruger pistols, you know, the Mark II, Mark III. They were reaching for it from the side. We found a Browning that was small enough, but to be able to, you know, make the firearm safe, to drop the hammer. Once the magazine is out, you had to push the magazine release as you pressed the trigger.
Okay, yeah. That's what I thought you were kind of saying, but you also want to know what model it was, because I addressed him earlier about that. With you can have the magazine removed and push the mag release, and be able to drop the hammer and fire it. So that's good to know. I know, like that's one thing that I didn't like about the SIG Mosquito, the 22 Mosquito. that
Right.
it has a mag safety on it. I'm like, oh, this is BS. I really don't like it. But
Yep.
there is an easy way to remove
I call
it.
I call it Californicating a firearm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, it has 10.
It's now a law out there.
Exactly. It has 10 round mags in it and whatnot, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the Mosquito, honestly. It is what it is. It's still fun to shoot. I like it in that respect, but it does have a lot of jams and stuff, and it is what it is. But that's also
I've never seen one not jam.
Especially with hollow points. So you just got to find what it likes to eat.
Yeah, and they always say CCI mini mags, and I've had good luck with those for the most part, and also just to throw it out there, the Winchester, I think Super X, and some of the, how do you say it, Aguila, I can't pronounce it.
Super extra.
Yeah, Super Extra, Awesome Aguila, whatever. That's high velocity, whatever. So that stuff seems to cycle.
Yeah, that's what I always tested 22 pistols with in the gunsmithing side of things.
Nice. Very good.
It was cheaper than the CCI mini mags or whatever they're called.
Absolutely. Yeah, CCI mini mags are like the premium ammo, period. And then I try this other stuff. I'm like, this stuff has a little more velocity. It has a little more kick to it. Well, I don't know.
Man, I was just.
Go ahead.
Sorry, no, I was saying I was just scrolling through my feed and I saw that video you posted of those two monkeys that jump on the warthog and they ride it like a motorcycle.
That is hilarious, isn't it? Yeah,
I'm sorry, dude.
Oh man, I gotta show that at some point. It's this funny clip. Yeah, like you said,
Is that on your Facebook?
It's on my Facebook. Somebody posted it's two little monkeys and they're running and they jump up on the back of this hog and they just take off and someone plays the motorcycle sounds. It's like and they're riding off on this thing. It's
I'm laughing and I haven't even seen it already.
You gotta see it. It's hilarious. It's like one of the best.
But
things.
like two kids on a motorcycle, how do you get off?
Yeah, they didn't show that part. They just show them riding off with it. And I'm like, does the monkey is it like a predator of the hog in some respect? Is it gonna kill it and go make some ham sandwiches?
They probably just like to mess with them.
Probably.
I didn't want you to think that I was laughing at the Sig Mosquito talk. I was actually just laughing at those damn monkeys.
Sure. So we're trying to have a serious conversation about guns and people and self-defense, and you're out there watching monkey videos.
It's your fault.
I missed this, Ryan. Thank you for coming back. It's awesome. So, anyway, good times.
Rick, how was shooting the Wildy, right?
Wildy, yes.
Did you talk about that last week or no?
No, because I did it on Friday.
Okay.
So I only have that one little video clip. I shot it one time because ammo is expensive and it was my friends and I want to keep shooting it. But it also does pack a pretty good punch of recoil. And I was like, man, I was kind of losing a little confidence in my grip for some reason because my friend's kind of critiquing me on my grip, and stuff. And I'm like, oh man, plus throwing this thing up there. That, I'm trying to remember which, I think it's a 44 Win Mag, if I remember right. I don't remember what the cartridge is. I can't remember. I don't know. But that thing does kick pretty good. And it shoots nice. I'll tell you that. I mean, it was right where I put it. So it was kind of a cool experience regardless. Even if I did it one time, I'm glad I got to do it and check it out. And apparently what I learned is about Wildies, the older ones, I guess, from my understanding, for what my friend was telling me, they had some issues with the hammers cracking and so forth. And his is actually snapped. The top of the hammer is snapped off, but it doesn't affect the functionality apparently. But whatever. Supposedly they're
hammer, or you don't know.
What's that?
Cast, was the metal cast the hammer, or you don't know?
Couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you that. I don't know. I don't know much about the Wildy, honestly, to tell you that. But when I post it, people are like, "Oh, that's so cool, it's Charles Bronson, gun." That's what my friend was telling me and stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, that'd be kind of cool. Check it out." He's always told me about it. The other thing I got to shoot was he has a Springfield Armory single stack 1911, 45 that he's had for I don't know how many years, maybe in the early 90s he probably bought it, and it's a full decked out competition pistol and everything. And ever since I met him, I've been wanting to shoot that just because I keep hearing about it, and he had it in his friend's safe or whatever, and he's like, if I take that out, I'm not gonna want to shoot my other guns because it just shoots so awesome and blah 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 blah. And he kept talking it up, and I wanted to shoot it, so finally he brought it with and I got to shoot it. The thing's nice. So I didn't do a video of that one though, because the reason why, he had some powder puff loads he had to burn off that were just reloads. And so it was having cycling issues. with like every couple rounds because they're just mixed bag of reloads that he had that were kind of soft. So next time when we bring some full power loads out, we'll probably do a video then when we get to actually test it properly. But yeah, it's a good time. That Will Do is kind of a beast, kind of fun to shoot. So what else we got? We're coming up at 9:55 here. Rob, did you have one more story you wanted to go through?
If you want to, let's do something quickly.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's see. We've been at
We go a little bit over. It's fine. We got people watching.
Okay, here we go. Probably not as germane right now, but we just came through Christmas and New Year's. So here's a very busy nail salon in a strip mall. 10 employees in the store this evening. Many customers. In come 2 armed robbers. This is a store just west of Atlanta. They present their firearms, threaten employees and the customers, demand money and valuables. One of the store employees is armed. He waits, sees his time, shoots one of the robbers. They both run. And the robber who's not wounded can run faster than the one who is, gets in the car, drives away, and leaves his partner in crime. The guy is suddenly sitting there bleeding, going, uh-oh. He limps into the nearby stand of trees. The police dogs find him and the gun. But here's what's interesting. The firearms owner waited. He was worried about who was in front of, behind of, where his firearm would stop. The criminals weren't. They ran through and they were just throwing rounds behind them. Don't chase us. But that's something we don't always think about. And maybe we don't know. We just don't know these details. But let's imagine, because we won't have time to think. If you're sitting in a chair waiting in a salon, can you present while you're seated?
Plus, you brought up a good point too. You don't know what kind of reaction, counter reaction you're going to get. Are they going to be spraying bullets everywhere, or are they just going to take off and run? You know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But again, like that situation that we spoke about first with the elderly couple, there are 2 guys trying to watch at least 10 employees. They said it was crowded. What, 15, 18, 20 people? I'm sorry, they don't have enough eyes. They don't have enough eyes. So we've all heard that action will beat reaction. If you're just marginally competent, you've got these guys. It will be all over and they will never see it coming. On the other hand, they're going to use the sudden violent action to intimidate everybody in the room so you can't think. That's what it is to be a criminal. But do you know that? Do you expect that? Do you in fact anticipate it so that you can respond even in that environment?
Yeah, you gotta stay cool, calm, and collected and keep your mindset.
Well, yeah. Isn't that, but okay, having heard it, in some sense, we'd love it if now the guys we're talking to right now go, cool, when do we get to try this force on force? I want to feel what it's like.
Then we can anticipate it. No, we know it.
Right? Right. Well, then we'll have experienced it. Everybody else is going, okay, I think I know it. Well, okay, maybe I know what to do. There are degrees of knowledge here. What do you guys think?
I think that you should study. You know, we've got services like YouTube and LiveLeak, and there's hundreds of videos out there of real-life use of force scenarios where they come storming in and they waving guns around, screaming, pushing, shoving, and so you know what to expect because these patterns generally repeat themselves. And
That's right.
Yes, stress inoculation, you know, force on force training is important, but if you can't do that, you definitely need to study these defensive gun uses. I keep a list of them on my YouTube channel. When I find one, I'll add it to the playlist. And it's important to study so that you know, so that you're aware, and so that your training can mimic real life as much as possible. You know, that what you're doing is for a reason. It's not just a drill that you saw, you know, some nationally recognized instructor doing. I mean, that's good. That's practice. That's training. That's good. But so that it mimics real life, and so that you're aware, I'm doing this because if I'm in this scenario, I'm going to need to know how to do this. So, you know, get on LiveLeak and get on YouTube and search up defensive gun uses and watch the videos. You know, they're all short. They're a minute, half a minute. But you see some things, and you can critique some things, and why did he do it this way, and what could he have done better? And I think that's really important.
So 2 things. One, knives, you know, that's the other thing too. I've seen some videos recently about that where knife attacks, you know, that's a little bit different scenario than you know, in a sense. What do you guys think about that? I mean, I always think about a knife is almost scarier to me than a gun, believe it or not. I don't know.
When I was in martial art, go ahead. Sorry, Rob.
No, I'm done. I'm with you.
When I was in martial arts, and I've been in and out of it my whole life, and I keep saying I'm going to get back into it, and I've actually been looking at schools. But last time I was in it, my sensei said, you know, if you're in a knife fight, you are going to get cut, period. Right. Accept it and move on. All you can do is minimize it. And that's true. You know, when we think about the Tooler drill, average able-bodied male can run a distance of 21 foot in 1.5 seconds, which is also the same amount of time it generally is going to take you to draw your firearm and put 1 or 2 shots on target. So these situations happen on top of you. You know, we train at 20 feet, 30 feet, 50 feet, whatever the case may be. But, you know, these scenarios happen at 3 foot, 5 foot, 10 foot. So, you know, someone running at you with a knife, you're probably going to get cut. All you can do is minimize that.
The second question we saw here in the YouTube world, the question was, what do we think about, I'll just pull it up here and make sure I'm reading this right, from Drake. He said, what do you think about using factory subsonic ammo for everyday carry? Well, I'll tell you my first thought when I heard that question, and you guys can chime in what your thoughts are, that with subsonic ammo, you might have cycling issues with you know, a semi-automatic, from my understanding, and Ryan could probably sum that up because, you know, being the experience that you have as a gunsmith and so forth, you can share your thoughts on that. And also the other end of that would be probably the actual effectiveness, I guess you could say, of a subsonic round. So what are your thoughts on that? I'll go with Ryan first.
Bro, I carry 22 rounds of not 147 grain 9mm full metal jacket in my daily carry.
Okay. But what about for subsonic use?
That's they're subsonic.
Oh, they are subsonic.
Yeah, 147 grains, full metal jacket. Yeah, they're subsonic. Okay,
see, I didn't know that because I'm not familiar with the velocity it would be on them.
Yeah, I don't even think, I don't know if you can get, I don't know how fast you can get 147 grainers to go, man, because that's a really long bullet. I don't think there's much room for powder in there.
No, there isn't. I'm just starting to work on some bullets for it.
I mean, there's a lot of self-defense rounds that are made in 147 grain. They got all sorts of fancy stuff inside of them. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. I know that I can hit a plate-sized target at 20 yards while I'm moving, and even under stress. I've been in a few gunfights in the civilian world, and I don't know. They're all different, and bullets do crazy-ass things, dude. I mean, bullets have gone through the sides of cars where there's a little tiny quarter-inch piece strip of rubber hit a femoral artery and killed the police officer. You know, I just roll with the slow stuff. I know how to shoot them. All that fancy expanding stuff. I mean, I've seen hollow point jackets expand on paper.
So, in respect to subsonic, it probably depends on the grain, the bullet weight. As far as 9mm, for example, if you're gonna have cycling problems, maybe. I mean.
Dude, I don't know about cycling problems. I pretty much all I shoot is 147 grain full metal jackets all the time.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding it then, because I always hear that with rifles about cycling issues with subsonic loads. And I know how it translates.
If it's built to SAMI standards, then it has to have enough momentum impulse to cycle the standard firearm. So the way you slow it down is you throw a great big chunk of lead. Now, hand loading, yeah, you can build a powder puff load, but
okay.
A box and it's built to SAMI standard, it'll meet the pressure, and it ought to have enough power to cycle the firearm.
I don't think that I would use hand loaded in the defensive round just because you're giving the prosecutor way too much quote unquote ammunition to use against you. You know,
that shoots standalone armory.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's when I totally agree on the 3 loads. I wouldn't do it either. Now, if it comes down to having something to shoot and nothing to shoot,
absolutely,
that's a different story. But in general, rule of thumb for your everyday carry ammo, factory loads are better, especially, you know, for the aspect of, like you said, the litigation, and, you know, it's something that is documented and replicable, and they can, you know, analyze a little easier, I think, than what did you make in your basement, you know, and what kind of powder did you use and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, then you got the whole allegations of you're trying to make a more deadly round or some crap like that. But anyhow, we're a little bit after 10 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and wrap things up tonight. If you guys have any last words you want to throw out, I'll start with Ryan. I appreciate you, Ryan, coming back with us, too. Hopefully I'll have you on more often.
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, always. I'm glad to have you, and I'm looking forward to a couple less than 2 weeks away. We're going to be hanging out. So
sweet.
And Rob, thanks for joining us. You had some good stories. I think it's awesome. Again, where can people find your podcast again?
That podcast is it can be in your pocket every week. Go look. It's on Stitcher and iTunes. It's called Self-Defense Gun Stories. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for joining us. And Joe, you got any last words you want to throw out?
No. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's true. This is the first show of the new year. I keep forgetting that.
There you go.
Yes.
Thank you for having me once again. Have fun at SHOT Show. I'm very jealous.
Definitely. No, hopefully next year we'll get you out there with us. That'd be fun. Yeah. And we got to do some shooting soon too. So again, thanks for joining us. And then Thomas, you got any last words? Anything you want to throw out?
I got nothing really to add. Joe, Ryan, good to see you again. Rob, nice to meet you. Looking forward to a great 2017. Last thing I do want to add. Stop at the New Year's resolutions of buying more guns and get training on the guns you have. That's more important.
But I have to finish my 50 States of AR-15
project. You have an excuse, Rick. You have an excuse. Nobody else. Get trained on the ones you have. Learn how to shoot them.
No, I can't agree more with you on that. I think training is important too, and I need to do more of it, and that's something I've been lacking. I guess it's my New Year's resolution is getting some more firearms training this year. Mm-hmm. That's going to be it. So we'll go ahead and wrap things up. As always, thank you all out there for your questions and comments. I'm going to take one last quick look and make sure there isn't anything we didn't really quite address that's really fast here as far as the guys out there on YouTube land. There's a few different comments. I want to say thanks to the guys over at Gun Channels that are watching. We've got Dan, Bob, and Dead Horse as their names on the channel. And also Hypo Drake, who's been chiming along all along with us here on YouTube. So thank you all for watching, and hope you all have a great 2017, of course. And we'll be back. We're going to be back next week. Probably going to do some SHOT Show pre-gaming type stuff. Hopefully we get Joe Nixon back on with us. Maybe even JJ Ricazza if he's available. I don't know. We'll see. We've talked about trying to get him on. We don't know if it's going to happen, but we'll do a little pregame for SHOT Show next week. And, yeah, until next time, as always, go out and have some fun shooting.